Good morning and welcome to our service this morning. And yes, on this, a little while ago, it seemed to be a beautiful sunny morning. Anyway, it's slightly changeable at the moment. But anyway, welcome. I would invite us to take a moment to pause in silence, and as we do so, to bring to our hearts and our minds the people of Afghanistan, the people of Haiti, and today it was in the news, the people of Mexico, and of course, the people of this city here, Plymouth, who have been affected by the shootings. And into the silence, I'd like to offer these words by Jan Richardson. Blessing in a time of violence, which is to say, this blessing is always, which is to say, there is no place this blessing does not long to cry out in lament, to weep its words in sorrow, to scream its lines in sacred rage. Which is to say, there is no day this blessing ceases to whisper into the ear of the dying, the despairing, the terrified. Which is to say, there is no moment this blessing refuses to sing itself into the heart of the hated and the hateful, the victim and the victimizer, with every last ounce of hope it has. Which is to say, there is none that can stop it. None that can halt its course, none that will still its cadence, none that will delay its rising, none that can keep it from springing forth from the mouths of us who hope, from the hands of us who act, from the hearts of us who love, from the feet of us who will not cease our stubborn, aching, marching, until this blessing has spoken its final word, until this blessing has breathed its benediction in every place, in every tongue. Peace, peace, peace. Whether you are here in person, whether you are joining us on Zoom, whether you are joining us on the Facebook, whether you are joining us watching a recording of this service, please know you are welcome here. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, know you are welcome here. Wherever you are in your relationship with God or not, please know you are welcome here. And so whatever state of mind you are in, no matter how heavy or light your heart is this morning, know you are welcome here. And may you find solace and connection during our time together. And so, as is our custom, I will light the chalice. We light this candle as a symbol of welcome. May its flame be a beacon of hope to all those seeking refuge and comfort. May it light the way home for those wandering in the wilderness. May its flame burn away the bonds of shame. May it connect with the light of love in all our hearts, bringing trust and a sense of belonging, reminding us that we are never alone. In case there is anyone joining us for the first time who doesn't normally worship with us on a Sunday, whether it be on the recording, whether it be on Zoom, I suspect there's nobody here in the chapel, in the church, who's here for the first time. And I just want to point out to those of you watching on Zoom or watching on Facebook, some of us are wearing masks, some of us are not. I am looking at people who I know, who I have led services for before, but we are still spaced apart. And there's something heartbreaking about this, that the fact that we cannot meet in our traditional way yet. And so I just want you to know that you may not be aware of it because you're watching from a distance, but that's how it is. And I'll explain a little more when we come to sing our hymn about how that is affecting us being together. So in case there is anyone who's joining us for the first time, I'd like to extend a special welcome. And Unitarians have no fixed statement of beliefs or creed to which you have to agree in order to be accepted. Our attitude is that religion is wider than any church or faith group and deeper than any set of beliefs. So here we practice a free faith unfettered by dogma. And we are of different identities, sexualities, diverse beliefs and life experiences, and we have chosen to come together in this moment for worship. This makes this a holy moment, a sacred moment. As such, when I speak of God, when I or anyone speaks of God, I invite you to bring your own unfolding, personal and intimate understanding to that name, for it is yours and yours alone, and may just be your most intimate relationship of all. And now some words from Frederick Buechner. Your life and my life flow into each other as waves flow into wave. And unless there is peace and joy and freedom for you, there can be no real peace or joy or freedom for me. To see reality not as we expect it to be, but as it is to see that unless we live for each other and in and through each other, we do not really live very satisfactorily. That there can really be life only where there really is, in just this sense, love. So listen to your life. See it for the fathomless mystery it is, in the boredom and the pain of it no less than in the excitement and gladness. Touch, taste, smell your way to the holy and hidden heart of it, because in the last analysis, all moments are key moments, and life itself is grace. So how are you doing? How are you doing? How is life going for you? Are you still confused by the mixed messages we're getting? But are you able to follow the rules? What the rules? Do we wear masks? Do we not? Do I come close to you? Do I keep a distance? It's been like this for the last 18 months. So if this is creating anxiety or angst for you, when you look around the world and it looks like everybody else is carrying on like nothing's happened, but you feel like maybe you're the only one who feels like that, trust me, you are not alone. But hold yourself gently in your experience, however it is, however you're getting through, hold yourself gently in that. We're going to sing now, and I found it really difficult to ask people to sing since we've started going back into live worship. The fact that people are sitting. For me, there's something about singing in churches that we all sing together, we're close together, we lose our voices in the voices nearby, but now we're all spaced apart. And so we're being asked to experience the indignity of hearing our own voices. Well, this is not our, but it's certainly for me, it's like, yes. So the idea of sitting or standing this far apart from somebody and being able to hear gives me the shivers. Anyway, but we are going to sing, and hopefully we're going to sing. This is a tune that's familiar to you and that you like. And so we're going to sing hymn number 188, Let Love Continue Long. If singing hymns in church is important for you, as an important part of worship, if it's something that brings you joy, can I suggest in these times that you watch songs of praise at home when there's nobody else around and sing your hearts out? Sing like nobody can hear you. And now some words from Mary Oliver. This is a poem of hers called At the River Clarion. I don't know who God is exactly, but I'll tell you this. I was sitting in the river named Clarion on a water-splashed stone, and all afternoon I listened to the voices of the river talking. Whenever the water struck a stone, it had something to say, and the water itself, and even the mosses trailing under the water. And slowly, very slowly, it became clear to me what they were saying. Said the river, I am part of holiness, and I too, said the stone, and I too, whispered the moss beneath the water. I'd been to the river before a few times. Don't blame the river that nothing happened quickly. You don't hear such voices in an hour or a day. You don't hear them at all if selfhood has stuffed your ears and it's difficult to hear anything anyway through all the traffic, the ambition. If God exists, he isn't just butter and good luck. He's also the tick that killed my wonderful dog Luke. Said the river, imagine everything you can imagine, then keep on going. Imagine how the lily, who may also be a part of God, would sing to you if it could sing, if you would pause to hear it. And how are you so certain anyway that it doesn't sing? If God exists, he isn't just churches and mathematics. He's the forest. He's the desert. He's the ice caps that are dying. He's the ghetto and the Museum of Fine Arts. He's Van Gogh and Allen Ginsberg and Robert Motherwell. He's the many desperate hands cleaning and preparing their weapons. He's every one of us, potentially. The leaf of grass, the genius, the politician, the poet. And if this is true, isn't it something very important? Yes, it could be that I am a tiny piece of God, and each of you too, or at least of his intention and his hope, which is a delight beyond measure. I don't know how you get to suspect such an idea. I only know that the river kept singing. It wasn't a persuasion. It was all the river's own constant joy, which was better by far than a lecture, which was comfortable, exciting, unforgettable. Of course, for each of us, there is the daily life. Let us live it, gesture by gesture. When we cut the ripe melon, should we not give it thanks? And should we not thank the knife also? We do not live in a simple world. There was someone I loved who grew old and ill. One by one, I watched the fires go out. There was nothing I could do except to remember that we receive, then we give back. My dog Luke lies in a grave in the forest. She is given back. But the river Clarion still flows from wherever it comes from to where it has been told to go. I pray for the desperate earth. I pray for the desperate world. I do the little each person can do. It isn't much. Sometimes the river murmurs, sometimes it raves. Along its shores were, may I say, very intense cardinal flowers, and trees and birds that have wings to uphold them for heaven's sake. The lucky ones, they have such deep natures. They are so happily obedient. While I sit here in a house filled with books, ideas, doubts, hesitations, and still pressed deep into my mind, the river keeps coming, touching me, passing by on its long journey, its pale, infallible voice singing.
Let me be a living statue, holding all that life to send. Let me be a living statue, joy and sorrow, pure, intense. Let my blessing simply be to know each moment blessing me, a gauge of love's eternal promise, whispered through each dawning morn. Let me be a living statue, stark against indifference. Let all life move me freely, joy and sorrow, pure, intense. Let me know the faith that knows no bands, no meager more, my chosen son. Let me be a living statue, a pillar of love's firmament. As you flow through those before me, now I separate my rings. I consider this the lily, I accept all that this brings, facing fully to the wind, not turning from the hardest parts. Let me be a living statue, fearless though my pounding heart. Let me be a living statue, holding all that life does send. Let me be a living statue, knowing when to brace or bend. Let my blessing simply be to know each moment blessing me, and let me be a living statue, holding all that life does send.
The music we've been listening to this morning is by Jane Siberry, and that song was called Living Statue, that she duetted with Katie Lang. One of the challenges to live worship these days is, when it's combined with online worship, is to try and avoid the complications of copyright restrictions and stuff. So this music that we're listening to today, I've been given permission from Jane Siberry. I asked her if it was okay to play her music, and she said yes. And she explained that that last piece she actually wrote to be sung in churches. So So now we come to a time of prayer and quiet reflection. It will be an extended time of prayer and be quite contemplative and reflective. And we'll be moving through prayers of thanksgiving, reflection, listening, and loving. So I invite us to join together in prayerful stillness. You may want to close your eyes and direct the focus of your attention inwards, bringing it to your heart, penetrating its walls and breathing into it deeply. Holy and loving God of our hearts, Spirit of life and love, known by many names and yet known by none, guide our thoughts and our words this day. Help us be open to your presence in this moment. Help us be open to your presence here among us in this moment as we try and adjust to these familiar yet unfamiliar ways of being together. We still live in trying and unnatural times, which means we have to worship in different ways. Although this is not the way we know or the way we would like it to be, it is becoming the way that we know. So help us to come together in ways that allow us to know you, and may each of us find our own way through this time together. And so now we begin with naming prayer. This is a time to reflect on the things in our lives that we feel grateful for and to acknowledge them. So I invite you to think back over your day, week or month, or over your life as it is today. Notice what or who you feel grateful for. However big or small, take your time with this and naming whatever it is that you are grateful for silently, holding them in the confines of your heart. Resting in God's presence, however you understand God, or that which you hold of highest worth, that which is sacred to you, allow yourself to be bathed in the healing light of unconditional love. Breathe it in, breathe it out, filling the space around you with it. So I invite you to take a few moments to look back over your day so far, and if it's really only just begun, then also include yesterday. So without judgment or criticism of any of it, gently recount the events from the moment you awoke right up to this moment here now. As you do this, ask God to bring to your heart the moment for which you are most grateful. If you could relive one moment, which would it be? When were you most able to give and receive love? When did you feel most alive, most connected, most fully yourself? Ask yourself what was said and done in the moment that made it so special, and breathe in the gratitude you feel and receive life again from that moment. God, to bring to your heart the moment for which you are least grateful. When were you least able to give and receive love? Did you feel most drained of life, least connected, least yourself? Ask yourself what was said and done in the moment that made it so difficult, and be with whatever you feel without trying to change it or fix it in any way. So you may want to take some moments just to let God's love fill you just as you are. As our time of knowing prayer comes to a close, you might want to speak inwardly to that which you hold sacred or God, asking for comfort, compassion, or forgiveness, perhaps asking for guidance or ways to live your life more fully. Now we move to loving prayer. This is an opportunity to offer prayers for whoever or whatever you feel is in need of loving prayer right now. And there are many throughout the world, both near and far, who are in need of prayer. So it may be for a loved one, a stranger, someone you are in need of resolution with, or maybe even yourself. to silence, into silence as we practice the listening prayer. And this is a time to sit in stillness with the intention of allowing ourselves to listen for the still small voice within that may or may not speak. So don't force it, just allow yourself, allow it to be heard or not. And we'll sit for a few minutes. May all our prayers be heard.
Santa Maria, Santa Teresa, Santa Anna, Santa Susanna, Santa Cecilia, Santa Capilia, Santa Domenica, Mary Angelica, Frater Ashes, Frater Pietro, Julianus, Petronella, Santa Santos, Mirza, Vladimir, and all the rest. Oh, a man is placed upon the steps and a baby cries. High above you can hear the church bells start to ring. the body settles in, somewhere you can hear a mother sing. Then it's 1 foot, then the other, as you step out on the road. Step out on the road. How much weight? How much? Then it's how long and how far and how many times. Oh, before it's too late. Calling all angels, calling all angels. Walk me through this one, don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, calling all angels. We're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure how. Oh, and every day you gaze upon the sunset with such love and intensity. It's almost as if you could only crack the code, then you'd finally understand what this all means. Ah, but if you could, do you think you would trade in all the pain and suffering? Ah, but then you'd miss the beauty of the light upon this earth, and then the sweetness of the leaving. Calling all angels, calling all angels. Walk me through this one, don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, calling all angels, calling all angels. Walk me through this, walk one. Me through this one. Don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, calling all angels. We're trying, we're hoping, we're hurting. We're not sure how this goes.
Now I offer a reading that comes from a recent Richard Raw meditation blog post. And this offers modern versions of some words by Brother Lawrence, who some of you may have heard of. He was a 17th century French Carmelite monk. And Brother Lawrence, he offers no real mythology for prayer, but simply encourages us to be ourselves and to be aware of God's presence. And you may find these words reassuring. I know I certainly do. And so this is if you like, a modern paraphrase of his words. I don't practice any particular prayer discipline. I have no specific technique I use to meditate. I know these methods work for many people, but for me, when I tried them, I just spent all my time rejecting my wandering thoughts over and over. I've tried to practice these disciplines, but now I don't worry about them anymore. Their only purpose anyway is to bring a person to union with God. And why should I fast or set aside particular prayer times or deny myself in some way when I've found the shortcut? If every moment I'm consciously practicing love, doing all things for God's sake, then I don't need to worry about these spiritual methods. My thoughts are the biggest obstacles to this way of living my life. The little useless thoughts that drift through my head, making mischief, distracting me. I've learned to reject them as soon as I notice them. They have nothing to do with the reality at hand, nor with my eternal salvation. And once I stop paying attention to them, I can get back to communing with God. I have abandoned all particular forms of devotion, all prayer techniques. My only prayer practice is attention. I carry on a habitual, silent and secret conversation with God that fills me with overwhelming joy. And when we walk in the presence of God, the busiest moment of the day is no different from the quiet of a prayer altar. Even in the midst of noise and clutter, while people's voices are coming at you from all directions, asking for your help with many different things, you can possess God with the same serenity as if you were on your knees in church. I can't always maintain my focus on God, of course. I'll suddenly discover that I've barely given God a thought in a good long while. Usually what gets my attention is that I'll notice how wretched I'm feeling, and then I'll realize I've forgotten God's presence. But I don't worry about it too much. I just turn back to God immediately, and having realized how miserable I am when I forget God, my trust in God is always that much greater. The divine presence occupies the here and now. If you are not aware of this, become so. Modern version of the words of Brother Lawrence. And so now I offer some words from the late Nancy Schaefer, who was a Unitarian Universalist minister. This is called That Which Holds All. Because she wanted everyone to feel included in her prayer, she said right at the beginning several names for the holy. Spirit, she said, Holy One, Mystery, God. But then, thinking these weren't enough ways of addressing that which cannot fully be addressed, she added particularities, saying, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Ancient Holy One, mystery we will not ever fully know, gracious God, and also Spirit of this earth, God of Sarah, Gaia, Thou. And then, tongue loosened, she fell to naming superlatives as well. Most creative one, greatest source, closest hope. Even though superlatives for the sacred seemed to her probably redundant, but then she couldn't stop. One who made the stars, she said, although she knew technically a number of those present didn't believe the stars had been made by anyone or thing, but just luckily happened. One who is an entire ocean of compassion, she said, and no one laughed. That which has been present since before the beginning, she said, and the room was silent. Then, although she hadn't imagined it this way, others began to offer names. Peace, said one. One my mother knew, said another. Ancestor, said a third. Wind, rain, breath, said one near the back. Refuge, that which holds all. The child said, water. Someone said, Kuan Yin. Then womb, witness, great kindness, great eagle, eternal stillness. And then there wasn't any need to say the things she thought would be important to say. And everyone sat hushed until someone said, Amen. So now I offer a blessing by John O'Donoghue. May the light of your soul guide you. May the light of your soul bless the work you do with the secret love and warmth of your heart. May you see in what you do the beauty of your own soul. And may the sacredness of all you do bring healing, light, and renewal to those who work with you and to those who see and receive your work. May your work never weary you. May it release within you well springs of refreshment, inspiration, and excitement. And may you be present in what you do. May you never become lost in the bland absences. May the day never burden. May dawn find you awake and alert, approaching your new day with dreams, possibilities, and promises. And may evening find you gracious and fulfilled. May you go into the night blessed, sheltered, and protected. May your soul calm, console, and renew you. And so, until such a time that we can be together again in person without worrying about social distancing or masks, may the wind of the Spirit blow through our world, giving the answer of God's everlasting love. That as you re-enter your day, you do so with peace and joy in your hearts. Amen. Oh, it's all about the choreography. We do live in challenging times.